This is the 4th generation Suzuki Swift GLX. Is it better than the Brio RS and the Vios E? And is it worth its 899,000 peso price tag? Let's find out. This is the all-new Suzuki Swift. It's been completely redesigned, but it's still recognizably a Swift. Like the previous model, the roof slopes towards the back. And then there's a black trim between the C-pillar and the roof, which gives the illusion that the roof is floating. The vehicle has a pretty low stance. It has 120mm of ground clearance, which is the lowest in its class. Some people might consider this a drawback, but I like it. I think it gives the car a more sporty look, and it's not really slammed. 120mm of ground clearance is very much usable. The front of the car looks slightly meaner than the previous model. Just slightly though. It doesn't look as aggressive as the Brio or the Vios. The car has daytime running lights, which neither the Brio nor the Vios has. As you approach the back, you immediately notice the shoulder-like haunches. It almost looks like a mini Juke. I know a few people who don't like the haunches, but I do. I think they make the car look more masculine. They make the car look wider and more sure-footed. I think the design is a bit incohesive though, because the sides and the back look pretty boxy and angular, but the front is all curves. The front and the back almost look like they belong to different cars. But I'm nitpicking. Overall, the Swift is a pretty decent looking subcompact, although I'd have to give the Brio more style points. The Brio is just the cooler looking vehicle. The interior of the Swift looks and feels more expensive than the competition. This top-of-the-line GLX model has an 8-inch infotainment screen with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. The display is bigger than the competition's, and it looks like it's well integrated into the dashboard. Unlike the infotainment screen of the Brio and the Vios, which look aftermarket. The vehicle has automatic climate control. It looks like you have 3 knobs down here, but you only have 2. The one on the left is for controlling the fan speed, and the one on the right is for the temperature. The one at the center is not actually a knob. It displays your temperature and fan speed, also your mode. Underneath is one 12-volt outlet, a USB port, and an aux jack. There are 2 cup holders. The car has fabric seats. As expected, most of the surfaces are made of hard plastic, but you get fabric door inserts and padded door armrests. These are amenities that you don't get on the Brio. I like the cylindrical design of the gauges. I think it gives the car a more sporty look. The steering wheel is thick, it is leather covered, and it has a flat bottom. It feels a lot better than the wheel of the Brio and the Vios, which are both molded in plastic. You get buttons for the infotainment and for the cruise control. By the way, neither the Vios nor the Brio has cruise control. The rear opener for the rear doors is at the C-pillar, which may confuse some of your passengers at first, but they'll get used to it. Space is surprisingly good. I have decent legroom. And the headroom is surprisingly good, even with a sloping roof. On paper, the engine specs are pretty underwhelming. It has a 1.2-liter engine, which produces 82 horsepower and 113 Newton meters of torque. But this is a small car, so there's not a lot of weight to push. It can keep up with highway traffic, and if you need to accelerate a little bit faster, it has a sport mode, which improves acceleration a little bit. It can do 11.5 kpl in the city, and on the highway, with cruise control enabled, it can do 21.5 kpl. The car has a CVT transmission. For vehicles at this price point, the options usually are CVT or a 4-speed. And while I'm not a fan of CVT transmissions, they're definitely a better option than a 4-speed. One advantage that the Vios has over the Brio and the Swift is that it has 6 airbags, while the Swift and the Brio only have 2. The Swift has a rear view camera though, with rear parking sensors, which neither the Vios E nor the Brio has. Given the fact that the car only has 82 horsepower, I was expecting it to feel sluggish, but it didn't feel that way. 82 horsepower is sufficient for the weight of the car. The steering is motorized, so it's pretty light. Sound insulation for the price is pretty decent. Also, the ride quality is not bad. In terms of features, the Swift wins against the competition by a slight margin. The Swift has conveniences like cruise control, it has a larger infotainment screen with navigation, it has a rear view camera, but buying a car isn't just about comparing features. This is subjective, but if I were given a choice, I'd go for the Brio. I think it's the best looking car at this price point. I also like modifying cars, and I think that the Brio has a lot more potential in that department. It may have fewer features, but it's also cheaper. That's just me though. If you're looking for a compact, fuel-efficient car that looks pretty good and won't break the bank, you can't go wrong with a Swift.